Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel where we talk about real life concepts, where we get deep into the rabbit hole and we start to find answers so we can all improve our lives. So, today I want to talk about how you can influence the way you think and can eventually control your reality with your mind. I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. I know you're probably saying to yourself, well, shouldn't I have full control of my reality because I'm the one making all the decisions in my life? So I gotta be in control of my life, right? But do you actually have full control? Do you wonder why you're in a certain situation, whether financial or a relationship, and you can't seem to get out of that situation no matter how hard you try? Well, it most likely has to do with the decisions that you're making on a day to day basis actually being decided by your subconscious habits instead of your conscious self. So, what do I mean by this? If you're unsure, it's okay. It's not easy to understand this fully, so I want to give you some knowledge so that you can apply what I'm about to share with y'all to your life so you can recognize it and then really start to take control. So, I just want to start off with what this reality, what this world that we are all experiencing actually is in an understandable way. I'm going to be giving you the ways on how to alter your reality with your mind later in the video. So make sure to watch the entire video so you can understand what I'm about to explain to you. So I would grab a pen and paper as well as take some notes if you really want to extract as much information from this as you can. So without further ado, let's begin. So everything around us is energy, including us. And I'm pretty sure you've learned this in school, in biology class, or chemistry that at a microscopic level, you can visually see atoms, electrons, protons vibrating at a very high or low frequency, which everything around us is made of. So, the world that me and you are living in is in constant motion. It just never stops, and that's just how it is. So, motion, which is the movement, requires energy, which is the reaction to make the movement happen. And that energy is connected with your awareness or consciousness of what's around you. So, from your consciousness, you're able to pull from an unlimited amount of possible outcomes, whether that be money, a certain girl you want, a certain level of status. I mean, the possibilities are endless, bro, and you can literally get whatever you want to achieve in your life, something in your real life, physical, materialistic reality. So think of it like planning a trip somewhere. To go on that vacation, it requires motion or movement, and you need the energy to make that happen. So this energy that you have in you comes from your desire to explore and experience new things. When you're aware of all the travel options and destinations that you can visit, you can choose from so many possibilities. So let's say you want to go to Dubai, France, Tokyo, wherever you want. By focusing your energy and awareness on planning this trip, you're able to turn one of those possible outcomes into a real life experience, okay, in your physical reality. So that was just a real simple example of this concept, but you guys get the point. So in order for this to click in your head, just imagine our minds are like magnets that attract an endless amount of things that you could do in your life, and then turn those things that you want in your life into actual real life experiences where you can feel and be in that experience. By default, humans are simply products of their environment and act a certain way from what they've been through in their past. So some people go through some sort of trauma, either physical or emotional trauma, and then make certain decisions in their future experiences based on that trauma that they went through in their past. But the good news is that you have the ability to create an entirely new future for yourself once you understand how to take control of your thoughts that are causing you to make those certain decisions. So let's break this concept down more in depth. I would say start to take notes now if you can, because it could get complicated. So Hey, don't mind my cat. He's throwing up a hairball in the background. I'm sorry. Um, so we live in two simultaneous worlds: the invisible world of cause, where your thoughts and beliefs about the world hold your creative, imaginary power, and then you have the material world of effect, where the thoughts and wants that you have in your head then become real and can be experienced by you, the experiencer. It's just like how a seed of a plant carries the blueprint of what that plant will eventually become once it's fully grown. It's the same for our thoughts. All right, I gotta go check on my cat, bro. I'll be back. This is crazy. All right, y'all. I'm sorry about that. I'm back. He's good. He just had a little hairball. We're just getting into it, but where was I? Okay, like I was saying, our thoughts, right? It's just like how a seed of a plant carries the blueprint of what that plant will eventually become. Once it's fully grown, it's the same for our ideas, which is the seed which is within us before the idea becomes real in the material world. So you project an idea into your mind and have that idea become real life. But by really understanding this, I'm telling you, you can literally start to fully take control and start to reshape your life from your creative consciousness instead of from the programmed decision making in your subconscious. Okay, which I'm gonna be breaking down the subconscious mind in future videos, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe so you can see that. But like I said earlier, everything around us is energy that exists in two forms, either in particle form, which has structure and shape, just like the seat you're sitting in right now, or the phone that you have in your hand. It can be seen by you, touched and observed in space and time. And then you have waveform energy, which includes anything related to your thoughts, sounds, your mind, images, and feelings, just like my voice. You can hear it, but you can't see it with the naked eye. You can just hear it. So in our minds, our thoughts that we have are all part of this wave energy, which is flowing within me and you. And we have both kinds of these energies at all times. So I need you to understand me, not understand me, but understand me when I say we are not just confined to our physical bodies. You need to understand me that we're a blend of these energy states. And, a lot of people think the physical body is self. And this gives people the wrong impression that this piece of meat and bones, this avatar we're in, is all that we are, which leads to what people call separation consciousness, where we think I and not we, and start to think of everything outside of our eyes as both objective and not our concern unless it suits us. So the truth is that the bodies we call I gives us our own definition of time and space. Our mind gives us time of our perception of how fast or by how slow time is passing. And the body gives us object space from this thing we call the human body. See, man created time as a concept because our physical reality puts us in a time space continuum, I guess, where past, present, and future can be measured, and we see ourselves moving through time in a linear fashion where minutes, days, months, and years go by in an order. Okay. So the only reason why we can experience reality is because our senses plug us into reality. Our brains operates from imagery, sounds, smells, tastes, touch that are then processed through electrical signals in the brain. So the brain organ does not have any physical contact with the outside world. It's all inside of our head, of us, obviously. And we touch the external world with our hands and get the feeling of whatever we are touching through those electrical signals. So we don't have to take our brains out of our head and then put it against every object every time we want to touch something to experience it, right? That's just silly. But This just proves that our brains are simply just translators. Our perception of physical objects in this world gives us the feelings and emotions. So your life is operating in a constant loop where we end up taking in our reality from an outside source through all of our senses and awareness, and then process it through the mental consciousness, which uses our nervous systems and brain's neural circuitry. Okay, so this process then in turn produces the feelings, which are effects of chemical reactions and pathways running through our bodies. So our brains do not face any physical object around us on a physical level, but rather produce an electrical copy of it formed inside the brain. Okay. In other words, the outside world is actually inside our brains, and these physical objects that you can grab with your hands are simply electrical signals within our brains that are interpreted. Therefore, the things interpreted in your brain are actually part of us, and they are produced within the brain. Okay, so if you want to understand that, rewind the video, and then you can just take some notes and grasp that concept better. But I know that some of the stuff that I'm saying is a no-brainer, no pun intended, but this understanding ties into the deeper meaning and understanding of the power you have to change your life. So, like I was saying, you are not in the world that you perceive yourself to be in, but rather the world is inside of you. Your body, or the I you recognize to be you, and the body you know yourself to be in is also an image form that is just rendered within your brain. So the only reality that any one of us experiences is the world of your perceptions within your mind, and consequently your feeling state of how you're feeling. This is why you hear that the world is a mirror or a reflection of who and what you are. This originates and lives in each and every one of us and is interpreted by your brain within you. So remember, you are not your brain. The brain is operated by something much, much larger. The brain organ is just a translation of your experiences. You are a consciousness or a conscious mind experiencing the translation of the brain as mirrored back to you. So this means that your mind can and will take control of your life if you don't know how to tame it. So you need to be careful, and it's actually pretty serious, bro, because if your brain takes control of you, your brain can literally ruin your whole life. Like, I've seen this. You can end up doped up on the street because you just let your brain just take full control of you, man. So remember, you are not your brain. Your consciousness is a byproduct of your brain. The brain is meant to be used by the mind, not the other way around. But unfortunately, many times people become stuck in allowing the brain to run on its default programming rather than giving it new programs to bring about new translations or manifestations. It's simply a machine, or like I said earlier, a tool that you need to know how to use in order to purposefully make a difference. Okay. Your brain is the servant. Okay. It's not the master. You're the master. So your mind has the capability of bringing you every experience that you have ever dreamed of. Although this concept is difficult to understand, the science behind it is factual. No one experiences reality in the same manner that you do because you create it internally. So knowing this and driving this into your head, it will become easier to understand that you have the ability to consciously alter the brain to generate what you choose to now perceive as your manifested reality. And you can create neural pathways and therefore new electrical signals that will give you a new translation or what you know as your physical reality. So rewiring your brain is critical in creating what you desire. So let me give you a couple ways on how to do this. Okay, so number one, just go outside of your normal routine. You know, on average, we have about 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. That's equivalent to one thought for every 1 to 2 seconds during every waking hour. That's a lot of thoughts. And What's even more crazy is that of those 60 to 70,000 thoughts, about 95% of the thoughts you have are the same thoughts that you had yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. And your mind is like a record player playing the same record over and over again. And think about it. If your mind is constantly like repeated over and over again, it's almost impossible to create a real difference from your current situation or reality. So one way to change that record player is to go outside of your normal routine whenever you possibly can. And by doing something new, our brain circuits respond by activating new pathways. And what this means is the brain forms and recognizes new connections in response to new experiences. And when we keep repeating this and the neurons in our brains are reinforced, it starts to make stronger connections and creates new electrical signals that then have the ability to translate new experiences in our reality. Okay. This is how they teach you in school. This is not anything new. So you are just applying yourself to figure this out. So by repeating this over and over, this gives the brain more options to work with you for your future manifestations. All right. That was number one. Number two, dream yourself into a new reality. What do I mean by this? It sounds silly, but the top most successful people do this. They just don't share this information to anyone. Okay, so dream yourself into a new reality. It's proven that visualizing and daydreaming have a large impact on the brain. Like the brain doesn't know the difference between what's being played out in the external world and internal worlds accordingly. Okay, so internal transformation changes our outer reality. Like I said before, the outer world is just a mirror of what is happening internally within the brain. So this means you can literally dream yourself into a new reality by rewiring your brain through visualizing and mentally stimulating your mind to embed new signals into your cells and your circuitry. So we can talk more on that, but in this video is going to be too long, so I'm just making it simple. So just visualize and daydream your future manifestations as if you were in that situation. Okay. Number three, tell yourself the best feeling story available. The best feeling story is telling yourself the best feeling story about all of your life circumstances. And by doing this over time, oh man, my dog, I'm gonna wrap this up, man, because my dog is crying now and I gotta go take him out. But I'm gonna make this quick and then we're gonna continue this in another video. But tell yourself the best feeling story of it. You hear him? Crazy. But to give you an example of this, to make it brief, think of it like the mind is overriding the brain, and by doing this, it can be accomplished by feeling how it would feel to already have what you desire, or you may produce an intense positive feeling state by recalling something from your past. So if this doesn't work for you, imagine a person that already has what you want and how it must feel to be there. And with enough time and consistency practice, the brain will literally start to believe that the new reality is already true. So please just daydream more, okay? And think of what you want and just think feelingly, okay? But I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to go take my dog outside. I hope you enjoyed all this information. We're going to have way more content coming up, so make sure that you subscribe, you like the video. It really helps with the algorithm and all that. I'm new to this, so, anything helps. So I appreciate you guys. I love you so much. Thank you for watching. Please stick with me through this journey. I love y'all. Peace.